Hello.
Okay, Seamus, what are we doing today?
We are remaining hydrated. So, earlier I tried filming a video about YouTube and its future and stuff, and I don't know how to tell you, but I just the video just changed, and here we are.
The video did not just change. We filmed for an hour and then Seamus came up with a better idea. No joke, we have the realization on camera. Literally, Seamus's face kind of drops and he starts talking about this other thing.
You've just made me realize something. I'm so different to how I was when I started doing YouTube full time, because I don't really like social media anymore. I loved social media so much when I started doing YouTube, and now I'm like, I genuinely don't think it's good.
If that's the video, I think you have to reset.
You want to start again? I don't know how this happened. I look back on the older version of myself that started on YouTube, so full of energy, loving this. My opinions on it have changed so much, and I want to talk about why and what's happened, where these shifts in opinions have come from, and yeah, I feel like I just had a sit down and chat video for ages about this.
It's also just interesting to look at why, because I also have a similar experience. Hello, voice behind the camera. Just the ghost behind the camera. I've had a similar experience of just moving away from social media and feeling a change in it. And it's so interesting when you brought that up in the alternative video that was filmed. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, social media kind of sucks now.
Sorry, I've lost my brain. Can you do the edit of my brain getting out of my head?
Oh, I wanted to ask. I'm actually curious about this. How did you start on social media? Not YouTube-wise, just generally, what was your first social media account?
Oh, I had Facebook.
First?
Yes.
Not MSN?
No. A bunch of my friends had it, 11 or 12. I was at my friend's house.
Illegal.
Yeah, I know. This is why it's so funny. The reason he told me I had to get Facebook was to play the games they have on Facebook.
The game.
The games, the Facebook games. And I remember I didn't want to do it because, again, goody two shoes. I didn't want to do anything illegal. And then I found out my sister had an account when she was 9. And I didn't have one at 11, and that made me get it. Because I was like, wait, my sister has...
I will do something illegal to not be the embarrassing older sibling that doesn't have the thing my sister has. Yeah. Oh my god.
I have some cringy posts up on here. I just would just post because everyone else posts, and I was like, well, I need to post something. Gotta let people know I'm active. But that was social media though, wasn't it? Yeah. If you weren't posting, were you existing? Haha. Chelsea, you are getting beaten by Liverpool. I always prided myself on being good at spelling.
Apparently not.
Apparently not.
Press like on this if you didn't know revision. No! Seamus, were you one of those people that were like...
This is 2010, I was 12.
Happy New Year, everyone. My New Year's resolution is to get as many people to like this status. After all, it's the first New Year status I put my clock forward. What the
My god, it has 3 likes, one of which is me.
And another person is a family member.
Yeah, it's my cousin! Also, you just added friends from school, and then you'd go home from school, and then someone would message you hey, and I'd be like, hey, and then it was do you know so-and-so likes you? And I'd be like, no, and it was okay.
Or every conversation was, hey, what are you up to? Nothing much, nothing much.
That was it. I do recall the things we were told about social media are don't put your personal information on there, don't put your number on there. I never did stuff like that. But I never stopped to think of am I gonna regret things I'm posting in the future? No. Never even crossed my mind. So first experiences of social media, that for me was Facebook. But I never really liked it. I just think I was on Facebook because everyone else was on it. And as soon as I felt Facebook was somewhat not cool, I was the first person to bash it while it was down. In about 2015, I remember I had friends using Facebook, and I was like, you're still using Facebook? Yeah. I wanted to be that guy because I didn't like the platform. The first social media I got that I remember actively liking was Twitter, which I got in May 2013. I didn't really have any friends on there, so whenever I posted, I wasn't caring about what people saw, and I was able to kind of follow what I wanted to follow and look at what I wanted to look at. And then my big blow up into the social media, putting myself out there to become a creator, because I feel it's a completely separate story.
Wait, so there wasn't a kind of shift in it for you? It was just 2 separate experiences.
2 completely separate experiences.
Yeah.
What about you?
I made videos because there was a community of people doing it. Because I watched one Harry Potter video, commented on it, got a response, and I was like, oh, what? There's people talking. I'm not just speaking to the void. And then I realized if I posted, they might see it as well. Because the Harry Potter community on YouTube back then wasn't super big.
Well, nothing was big on YouTube back then.
Right,
It was so small. I loved the idea that you could just put something out there. And the fact it just like, within like a month, it had turned into something that was a hobby, to something I genuinely thought I could pursue as a career. Just like one video changed my whole life.
Also, the way it like kept exponentially growing, because I may have had like some videos do well, but I never had the like climb that, for example, you and Sophie did as well, where it suddenly out of nowhere it just kept skyrocketing.
And I think that actually made it quite difficult to deal with, like just YouTube in general for me, because like to be given just like immediate success and immediate, like I'm gaining hundreds and hundreds of subscribers a day right from the start, and basically for my first year and a half doing it full time, when that stopped happening, and I think that's when I started to become bitter. Like, you know, like the whole salty Seamus thing, I genuinely think that was just bitterness, like of just like
of the success that was, or
of just kind of like it isn't working as well as it once did. People loved my enthusiasm and energy at the start, and it wasn't clicking anymore, so let's try something different. I loved social media. Like I still do use it so much.
There's no escaping it though. You can literally despise it with all your passion and still
This is something we'll get into. But yeah.
So what is the actual change then? Like what was the big like, oh, this is the moment it kind of switched, or was it just like
I can't pinpoint a specific moment, but there was something that happened in 2020. A little
wait, something happened in 2020?
A little something happened in 2020. There was a period where I feel like people were together. Like, and people were like banding together, but it lasted like a month or two. Yeah. I remember there were days in 2020 which were literally just like, statistically, based on the words said, I've seen like actual graphics on this before, that like based on the words said were the saddest days ever on social media. Oh, because based on like the tone of words, so like if you're saying words like good and stuff, that's a positive word, but based on the actual words being used, it just felt like the world just hasn't stopped being on fire. And I just remember I said that so nonchalantly. It was just like such like a non-statement. I remember just using social media to fuel anger almost. I wasn't on Twitter to see things I liked, like when I started on it 7 years before that. If you went on my search tab, I was looking up people who had just unbelievably like harmful opinions and beliefs, and I was just constantly scrolling through. I wanted to see what they were doing. I wanted to see the things that would upset me for some reason.
This is also so interesting because I did the same thing because it was around the time as well J.K. Rowling just started doing more and more transphobic
I got obsessed with it, and I knew I was obsessed with it at the time, and I was like, well, you know, this is how it is now, I guess. And
yeah, no, I remember being like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, and then still every time.
And my addiction to Twitter was so bad, and it has. I think I've been properly addicted to Twitter since about 2016. As in, I have looked at every tweet on my timeline on Twitter since 2016, and now since then, well, now I don't use Twitter nearly as much.
Only to tweet about Daddy Zerg.
Only to tweet about Daddy Zerg. I started to realize in 2020, especially with some things that happened, that people can use social media to
just be awful,
harass you as well, which is not very fun. We're not going into that in any more detail. Off-camera conversation just happened there. I think I started to realize how addictive social media was and how much I couldn't get off it. And I remember growing up, I remember seeing people who smoked. I've never actually smoked. But I'd have that conversation with so many people who smoked, and they'd say, oh, I wish I didn't smoke, never start smoking. And that was always the advice. And I remember when my friends started smoking and get to that age of 17, I was like, why are you doing this? And no one ever gave an answer of oh yeah, I really like it, it tastes nice. They always said it tastes bad. There was never a good reason for it. And I was like, I could never why would you want to do something that you don't like doing? But now, I'm looking at myself in the same position with social media, and someone's like, why do you use social media? And I'm like, because I have to. Do you like it? No, not particular. I am in the shoes of all these people that did not understand why they did something, but do it. Okay, so this is really interesting. Last week, I used my phone 9 hours 40 a day. Almost 43 hours a week on social media.
It's like that's a work week. I think there is a genuine thing of like, I actually really want to hear what people have to say if they feel the same, that going on social media is not as much of an excitement that you do. Because there was a time where you were like, I'm so excited to go and see what people are saying, or I'm so excited to go on Instagram today and see what people are posting. I just go on it and I'm like, yeah, I'm just doing as if I'm cooking a meal that I'm not really excited about.
My brain just you've nailed it. It's not a fun thing. I remember when I was at school, and back then when I made Facebook, again I had a brick phone. I didn't have a phone that could use Facebook. Going on Facebook was a treat when I got home from school. I was like, yes, I'm gonna get to go on Facebook. That was like a reward for the end of the day. Now I'm like, gotta get up in the morning, let's see what's going on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and that's just a chore. It's like a routine for me. But yeah, I think there's a factor here of social media, and I think more people are realizing how much it can negatively affect their lives. I have so many friends that obviously don't do social media for career and just like, oh, I couldn't be on social media like that. And it's crazy how, like, because I don't think I could exist without it. I couldn't, like, I don't think where would I speak to people and stuff?
A shift that has happened in social media, at some point before, you could run out of stuff. I could scroll, refresh Twitter, and nothing pop up. TikTok has changed that, I think.
Yeah.
So now you can't run out of things to see. So it's not satisfying anymore.
They're designing it to be addictive.
Instagram has become a really weird place, and I think people are turning on it now, where people are trying to make it more casual, because it used to be so much more like, just post what you're doing, right?
And then the pandemic happened.
And everything you posted kind of had to be staged because you're just in your house.
Yeah.
So for a good like year, every post was like a photo shoot in your own house. Why are you doing this? And then now post that, it's like, people are realizing like, what are we doing?
I've never been that big on Instagram, to be honest. It's always just kind of been like something I kind of had to use because it was like, well, you've got to have Instagram because you'll get a following there. But YouTube, I would have always said, was my favorite platform. And I actually still stand by, even though I really don't think social media is as good as I once thought it was. I think it's kind of dangerous in a lot of ways. I think it can spread lots of false information. It has been used to spread false information. Elections have...
Do you feel weird doing social media because you kind of hate it?
Like, it's the question of like, am I the bad guy, you know? Like, am I the guy making the cigarettes? Like, am I a cigarette company?
Yeah, this video is the thing that's like at the bottom text being like, smoking kills.
Yes, you are watching a video that kills. As a creator on YouTube, as much as it kind of like, how does it sit with me that I am making videos that are therefore making people use social media more? But YouTube to me was always kind of like separate from social media. There are bits of YouTube that aren't very social media, like having a library of videos that I can post and I can look back on. But there are portions of YouTube that are social media. Like if I look at the comments, then it's become more of a social media.
Because it's more of just putting something out there and then leaving it.
Yes.
Like a painting or something you walk past and you can't really see a response.
As much as I love to hear what people do have to say, and I can see one bad comment and it will just ruin my day.
The question is though, do you think it's healthy to be perceived by that many people every day?
I think that's the really
even
hard
if it
part.
is good comments, is it really healthy that you're being perceived by that many people?
Is it not as much being perceived by them, but how much I care about what other people think about me. Even back when I was on Facebook, there was a pressure of, like this post, please like this post, friends, and I'd get like 3 likes. And I remember being gutted about only getting 3 likes. I was like seeing other people like, oh, my friend, I don't know, has getting like 10 likes on every post.
I think also your perception of a comment is very interesting, because sometimes you'll read a comment and I'm like, have you thought about logically this comment? And then you will, and you're like, Oh yeah.
And I don't think it's about fully getting rid of social media. I think that's a big thing for me. It's nice to see like, oh, that's my friend from I've known since I was 4. Look at what they're getting up to now, living up their life in Colombia or something. I don't know. Like, I like stuff like that. I feel like watching YouTube now, because it's so much more long form content, is almost can be equivalated to like watching a TV show or something. Yeah. Like that's at least how I watch it. I pretty much always watch YouTube on the TV now.
I don't think you can feel bad about doing social media because
that's what the snarky comments are going to say, isn't it? They're going to be like, you literally do social media for a living. You're encouraging people to use it. But I'm like,
but see, you're already thinking about how this is going to be perceived.
Yeah, because it's so addictive, and that is the issue, and that's why that is the deep-rooted problem of it, is how addictive it is. It's the fact that I feel like I couldn't get rid of my phone. I not even just like getting rid of messaging people. I think if I could take all the social medias off my phone and I could still message people and still communicate with my friends, I couldn't survive. I just wouldn't be able. I wouldn't be able to do it.
You know what? Sorry, not to immediately making another video, but you living with just like a brick phone for a week.
Do you think that'd be good?
Yeah, like living with like as if you like one of the phones you can't get social media on.
Good idea.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason I don't want to do it is because I don't want to do it and realize I'm happier not on social media.
That's an intense sentence. Here we are. You're gonna have to delete that in a second.
Well, I'm not going to delete the app.
Yeah, you have to delete that. Oh my god, it's happening.
Why are you so excited by this? What do I do now? We're going to make a video about me going a week without my phone, maybe. If you guys want to see that video, leave a like and subscribe and watch another video and check out... I don't even know if you have to on this video. It was kind of...
Check out my other social media where you too can be addicted.
That's the outro. That's it. Thanks for watching.